There it is. Hey, Matt. I got you. I was muted. It was muted by accident. Cause I'm dumb sometimes. At least I'm cute. Blink. Oh, but what I was saying was I was gonna get a trucker hat, but I didn't have time to hunt one down, and there wasn't one already in the items in VTube Studio. Cause that would have been fun. All right, I'm gonna unmute in the voice chat now.
So, like, when you're in her stream.
Yo.
Oh.
Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Nothing.
Go ahead.
No, it's a problem with the Twitch app on Xbox. It's not fun.
Oh, that's stinky. Also, it's funny seeing that Garrett has the default Discord icon on stream.
Yeah. Big committed to it.
Yeah. Sorry.
I think I only changed mine like 3 weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah.
You mean you weren't always Shmee?
I mean, that was my name, but the picture was just changed.
So I did a little bit of the tutorial, I think.
Sweet.
I'm terrible at driving.
This game also does have a unique physics profile to it.
I crashed the truck.
Oh yeah.
And I was having a hard time finding where I'm supposed to be going. So we'll see how that goes. Also, there was a setting for me to hide the code.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna fire up.
Yeah, and then once you start you'll start a co-op session from the main menu.
Okay.
Here, I'm gonna. And I have your stream up. It's delayed from real time, but I can see what you're looking at least.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be a little delayed. I think it's like 5 or 10 seconds or something.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it might not even be that long.
It actually looks like it's better than it was. The delay on the Xbox app was awful.
I have my own music. All right, I'm gonna go over here.
Oh, heck yeah.
Is it just Trucker's Convoy on endless repeat?
Wouldn't that be awesome? No.
Just Trucker's Convoy, eastbound and down. That's all you need. It's all you need.
It's all you need. I don't need anything else.
Okay. So you said you already hit the hide code.
Yes.
Toggle, right? Okay. So you should be able to go to start co-op.
Okay.
And pick that.
Oh, they only let me pick the one.
So you can choose which. Yeah, you'll use that one.
You need to unlock the garage before proceeding. No, I don't want to.
You're good. There is a skip ahead.
I kept crashing and I gave up.
That's fair. So you'll just have to load back in single player, and then you can skip the tutorial, and then we will be your tutorial. What could go wrong?
Yeah, that would be better. It's for the content. All right.
So you just hit continue, and that'll fire up the game you were in.
Yeah, okay. Black River, Michigan. I never heard of it. Think it's real?
Well, get ready. It's got the weakest trees you've ever seen.
That's crazy in Michigan. I ran into this sign.
Solid.
All
right. So you can just go to the hit start.
Let's start.
Or whatever the equivalent of start is, and whatever controller you're on.
I'm on an Xbox controller.
Okay. You'll go down to settings. And then all the way at the bottom there, it says skip tutorial.
Yeah. Warning! Yes, we know.
Garrett and I were both remarking that it's funny that it doesn't tell you that you're that you are going to skip the tutorial. It tells you that you did.
So I can go back to the main menu now?
Wait, hang on. Pause for a second.
I got promoted.
Yep, that's fine. So there's a whole bunch of features that are by hitting up on the D-pad. It'll open up an option on your left side.
Yeah. I do that to switch trucks.
Yeah, so hit recover.
Whoa!
Probably gonna drop your cargo. Okay, that puts you in the garage. Now go ahead and leave. This way we know the garage is unlocked.
Okay. Excellent. Turn the main menu. Yes. Do as I say, game. Hi, Les. Hello. Welcome. I'm driving truck today. I'm a trucker. I'm stuck in the mud. All right. Start co-op. Crossplay blacklist management? No.
Oh, wait, hang on. Go to your settings really quick and make sure that crossplay is enabled.
I did. I turned it on already.
Okay, cool. Then you're going to hit create game.
Create.
Make it private.
Oh, there we go. There's 3 of us. Hello?
And then go ahead and start co-op.
Oh, all right. Driving is hard. Driving is hard. I already crashed into things. Especially these trucks, and they steer weird. The last driving game I played was like Need for Speed Underground.
Oh, good game.
It is a good game. I love that game. I miss that game. Okay, how do I invite you guys now?
So you're not going to invite us. What you'll need to do there is, so we'll need that multiplayer code, which is the one you hid, which means you might have to.
Oh, let's go back over here.
Pop off of this to.
Yeah, let's go over here.
And then if you just want to text that to us, then we can join from our side.
So if I go to settings, game. Aha. I'm gonna send it in the Discord. Is that okay? Will that be okay for you guys to get?
Sure.
Or will that be a pain in the ass because you're on Xbox?
Nope. You're good. Well, we have our phones on us.
Okay.
It worked for me.
Just making sure. Do you need the letters in front of it or just the number?
Just the 5-digit.
Okay.
So you got it.
All right, cool.
And then we have to hope that SnowRunner servers are being okay. Sick. Invitation failed.
Oh no. Should I be staying in the garage? Do you guys join?
You can go exploring if you want.
I can?
That is up to you.
I don't know how none of this works.
Yeah, you go trucking and we'll come find you.
Oh no, I'm not trucking. Yeah, I don't like any of the viewpoints. Like the dash view is really crappy, and the third person is also really crappy.
You learn to constantly pull back on your left stick because it pulls your camera back away from the truck.
Yeah. You didn't bring your truck with you, did you? New truck discovered. Fleet Star. That truck looks little.
It's not always about the size.
Garret, were you able to get in?
I had some technical difficulties while trying to.
Okay. I'm also having no luck.
Oh, nope.
Did I read the number wrong? Maybe I read it wrong.
I had a code fail.
Yeah, I got the same one.
Let me check again.
I wonder if it has to be public to join by code.
That don't make no
That wouldn't
sense.
that wouldn't make any sense, but
I'm surprised there's no way for me to like invite people. If it's private, you should be able to invite other players. That would make sense, yes.
Right. But it's across different platforms.
Right.
Kind of thing.
So, do you guys have crossplay mode turned on?
Yes.
Okay.
just to make sure we're getting the right one, if you just hit C, it should open up the party control menu, apparently. There's 2 codes for some reason.
Manage party. Oh, invite.
I would be surprised if that works.
Oh yeah, it's just my Steam friend list. Yeah, I can only choose from my Steam friends.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll work. Copy invite code. That is a different number.
Alright, let me try that one.
Yeah.
Oh, we got movement.
Okay, so it was the wrong one, apparently.
Well, this is my first time trying to connect to a PC game too, so
Yeah.
we learning.
So that's weird though. I wonder what that other one's for then, if it's not the same.
Yeah, I don't know.
Weird.
You don't try to understand what Saber's doing here.
No. You
just trust that the truck's gonna take you where the truck's gonna take you.
ChiiFett!
Yeah, I want you to know, I actually changed my Xbox gamer tag for this.
That's so funny. Hi, Lovey. Oh yeah, apparently today is my affiliate anniversary too, and I didn't know.
Oh, happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Sunday, though, I'm doing a 12-hour birthday stream. That should be fun. Hi, Lovey. How are you? All right. Cool.
I lost connection, so we'll try this again.
Oh no, already?
Oh no.
Stop moving, truck. Is the brake handbrake.
You got handbrake and you got left trigger for brake/reverse.
Okay, I want to switch to the other truck. I'll give me the other truck. Will it let me? Maybe turn this one off first? No.
No, you can switch without that.
Yeah, close
You
enough.
will. Probably.
This is so hard.
You
Backing up. Beep, beep. It doesn't beep.
if your
beep.
D-pad menu isn't working, you can join it for you can enter that truck from the map.
Oh. Open. Change truck. Yeah, fleet star. Engine is broken. Oh man.
So if you just recover it, it will.
Yeah, D-pad menu takes forever to open, huh?
It's
Oh,
pretty
man.
quick for me. Maybe
Maybe honestly, my controller is an off-brand. Shitty controller.
I might do it.
Oh. What's happening? Beep.
So you can also, if you don't like the darkness,
Yeah.
from the map, which is your left center button, there'll be a button at the bottom that says to advance time.
Oh, skip time. I just have to push it once.
Now you'll push it again. You have to jump to 6 a.m.
Wait, where's the time now?
Be
I
here.
don't see it.
Right next to Black River.
Yeah, at the top.
Oh. Oh, I went too hard. I'm in the afternoon.
All good.
There we go. Fixed it. Can you freeze time? That would be sick.
Maybe it's a setting that you have to set before you make the game.
It's probably a mod.
Oh, there's probably a mod for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What do we gotta do?
I don't know. I don't know what to do.
All right.
I was driving trucks. Very badly.
Trucks.
Ah, no!
Well, I guess the first thing to do is we should go. We have to find the tasks, so we have to drive around task at the various locations. Some of them are marked, and like once you get to observation point, it'll show
Oh no, you're cutting out.
them to unlock. Am I cutting out less now?
I think so.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds better for now.
So watchtowers would be our first thing. It's the long and short.
I did that once.
Heck yeah. Alright, so if you got that one, let's start with the one just south of the garage.
And you can put a waypoint. Yeah, if you go to the map, you can hit right trigger on it, and it will give you a waypoint.
Oh,
You can also draw. You can also draw pathways that like follow the road, because a lot of these roads are real windy.
Yeah. Wait, I think it's up that hill.
You gotta go find a better way.
Oh man.
Also, did you put the all-wheel drive on that truck?
No, it says dip block. Whatever that
Said
means.
putting upgrades on the truck is a whole nother tutorial.
Oh no.
You may want to put the all-wheel drive on that one, or it's not gonna be.
We're still gonna go up the hill.
Get there.
It'll just take a while.
So yeah, you
Yeah.
can
So if you
go ahead. Jay.
if you want to recover your truck and then
Oh yeah, I can
go back there, or we can drive back.
cover.
Drive back or recover either way.
Is it customized?
Yep.
Ooh. All-wheel drive. You just upgrade stuff for free?
There's some that'll be free. So as you find upgrades around, you'll get one of them for free. But most of the stuff you're gonna have to pay for.
Okay. Okay, I think I added it.
Yep, you got it on there.
Okay. Now, how do I turn it on again?
So you'll hold right bumper or left bumper,
Oh, there we go.
and then hit X. Yeah. That left bumper gives you a whole thing. And if you need to turn your headlight, I'll tell you this, but left bumper and B will turn on your headlights.
I have headlights? Okay.
Yeah, for whatever
Yeah,
reason,
trucking.
they don't tell you that one, which is
They just expect
We
you
don't-
to
we
do
don't
everything
question.
in the day.
we don't question Saber.
Got a little flippy do on my smokestack. Oh my god, where are you going?
We're just waiting for you to lead.
I don't know where I'm going. It's going.
Yeah, you're exploring.
Uh-oh. Wah wah. Or Sparta! Oh no, I'm gonna hit that pole! Oh, I'm stuck. I'm stuck. Nope, I'm doing it.
Got you.
That was awesome. This mud is bullshit.
It's not even bad yet.
Mud is bullshit, guys.
They call it SnowRunner, but it's a lot like Mud Runner.
Yeah, where's the snow? I
It's
thought
in
I got
Alaska and
scammed.
Russia.
I can't go there yet because they didn't unlock stuff. Oh no! Hard left. Oh. Smash. Hard right. I don't think this is the right way.
Now, there's a vague gravel trail. We're going the right way.
This truck is not good for this.
This
is the wrong
you chose big truck to go explore it.
This is the smaller one of the other one I was driving.
Well, we got that pickup truck. The
Started
scout
out in-
vehicle is.
I can't make it up there.
If you hit Y, you should be able to use your winch to grab onto something.
That is a-
Learning how to do that.
That
So
is-
the quick winch is just by hitting Y. You can also put your e-brake on and then put up on the D-pad and attach winch manually, where it'll show you what you can connect to.
It keeps attaching the stuff next to me instead of in front of me.
Well, there may not be stuff that in front of you.
I'm stuck.
Is your-
Wait, I'm going.
Is your
I'm
all-wheel
going.
drive?
I'm going. Yeah, the all-wheel drive's on.
All right, cool.
I made it. I suppose I could have went in low gear. That might have helped.
It can.
Real trucks, yes. SnowRunner,
trucks.
maybe.
Maybe. Say, I remember that being a thing when you're trying to go uphill. I'm just four-wheeling. wheeler.
Oh, did it.
Oh, it's so muddy. The truck is so dirty. Whee! It's a downhill.
Shoot. Full send in it.
I did. Then I immediately slowed down trying to go up the next hill.
Slowing
Oh,
down.
yeah,
That's
there's a
the
little
name of the
bump in
game.
I found the tower. Let's go. Skirt. Launch observation. Whoa, rugged music. Now what?
Well, now we. Go ahead, Garrett.
We uncovered a upgrade location, or we go find some more watchtowers, and or we could go through the contracts list and see what we can do there. Farming tools would be a good start.
Okay. Let's see, the contracts are up here. Contract.
And you'll have to go through that and hit accept for us to start following it.
We have Dyson, Diesel, Husky, Forwarding, and Steel River Township.
Yeah, and farming tools is in Husky Forwarding.
How do I get down there? There's too many buttons. There we go.
Oh, yeah. Did you get it?
I think so. A local farm by the name of Matthew and Sons has contracted us to see if we can help them out with a shipment of tools for repairs. You should be able to find the shipment somewhere near the garage. Oh, that's where we just were. Alright, active. So we gotta go back down to the garage now?
Did you activate it and then start tracking?
Did I start tracking? Yes.
Yeah, you got it. Yep.
Neat.
Yeah.
Alright, now I have to get out of here.
Yeah, you can either drive back down the hill or recover.
Oh yeah,
Either way.
I forgot I can just push the button. Cover.
Really about the same.
Ayy.
That also recovering also refuels you, so that's pretty good.
And repairs you.
I have to back up to one of these things.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
I don't know. How do you know what order
Yes.
you're supposed to do things in?
Yeah, no, you're right.
Oh,
I didn't have it tracked, so yeah, you got it back up there and attached to the trailer.
so what do? You follow the little magnifying glass? That's what your next objective is, or? Because that was something I couldn't figure out when I was doing the tutorials. I didn't know what order I'm supposed to do things in.
Yeah, the magnifying glass is like investigate this area or this trailer, and then the down arrow it means to drop off.
So if it tells you to like pick up a trailer, that investigate is gonna be
Oh,
where the trailer is.
I ran into it. New objective discovered.
Yeah, once you get your butt in near there, you'll open up the D-pad menu, and then there'll be an option in the truck section to attach.
Whoa. It just snapped together. Cool.
Yeah, we're ready to truck.
New trailer discovered. Fuel carrier.
Yeah, I'm cruising around right now. I'm gonna reveal some of the map to
Alright, so
let you focus on.
there's like an arrow thing, so is that where I'm supposed to go?
Yes, you're gonna go towards the down arrow.
Okay. I don't know how to pull a trailer. This will be interesting.
Go to the left out of here.
Oh, oh.
Yeah, with that trailer, just don't back up.
Don't back up.
And everything will be fine. So the trailer has its own axle. That would get real difficult.
Can't even back those ones up in the real world.
I should try to stick to actual roads, probably.
As best you can. Until we get some better tires and whatnot.
Oh gosh,
But
I'm
also
wiggly.
sometimes the main pathway, like the most worn, is going to be muddier than if you're just like a little outside. So pick your poison as you go.
Like this water over the road.
Oh, you'll be fine. You'll be fine with the water.
Oh gosh. Sometimes you like barely touch the stick and it's like, oh okay, we're going all the way left. And then other times you like barely
just-
moves stuff.
Just SnowRunner things.
Oh, there's a setting. Hang on.
Sorry, I got
Say,
stuck
I think
earlier.
I think it defaults to the good one. Go ahead, quick switch to me.
Oh, B. No, Y.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, I have small truck. This isn't helpful.
I know, we're stuck.
Is your all-wheel drive on?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's because half my tires aren't touching the ground.
I could do it. Oh yeah, this. Oh wait, I will be right back with a bigger truck.
Oh, oh!
Is that
did
one?
I do it? Oh, I didn't do it. I almost did it.
You can keep no harm in continuing to try.
Oh yeah, wiggling out is definitely.
And if you ever have like a rock under your wheel that's keeping you up, you can also try honking because your horn a very small shockwave. It doesn't like it's not going to change the world, but
Oh, this one you could use if you throw your truck into low, and then put on your diff lock. That would be probably a good place to get yourself unstuck there.
Oh, okay. I forgot how to do.
Be left bumper and then manipulate your gears with your right stick,
There we go.
and then turn on your diff lock when you get in low gear.
Oh, I didn't do it. Hi, Mac. Do a flip, but I'm driving. Alright, hold on. I have to do a flip real quick.
oh gosh.
Hold on. I got you. Do a flip with the truck. No, I can't. All right, ready? Ready? Here we go. Woo! I did it. I mean, I could probably do a flip with the truck if I drive it off a mountain or something, right?
Oh, it's much easier to flip these trucks than that.
Okay. Oh, it's gonna take a second to let me back in the game. There we go. I know. I know.
Oh, we're doing it.
It's almost there. Yeah.
Oh god.
Oh.
No.
So we gotta get that trailer out of the Rex too.
Oh, the trailer. I forgot about it.
It's still there.
I forgot I was playing it. 10 out of 10 flip. Woohoo! Bingo!
Forgot why we were here for a second.
I did. ADHD brain kicked in hard. Okay.
I would say, yeah, now that we're out of there, you can turn your low gear off.
Yeah.
Oh god.
No. This button. This button. And then over here. Honk. You gotta go over there. So I go around?
Yeah, there's a little driveway up front here.
Oh, I see it. Why is it so hard? Go, truck, go! You can do it!
Wait until this game controls your entire personality for a bit.
I sleep about truck. I think about truck. I breathe about truck.
You do truck in real life.
It doesn't help that you do this for a living too, but yeah.
I did it! Contract complete. I'm sinking in the mud.
Some other things.
And then that unlocked another step to that contract. We can work on that one.
So I go back. So now we're gonna go to where the little search icon thing is. Magnifying glass. Or no?
Yeah, we're gonna accept and track on
Oh, I have to go back
the
to
wet harvest
I have to go back
and the
to
contract list.
Okay. Okay. Wet harvest. Okay.
And then
Got it.
this one, supplies are spread all around the map.
It says I'm already here. Wait.
Yep, yeah, we're at the drop-off zone right now.
Oh, we're the drop.
So
Okay.
so now we're looking for the up arrows on the map.
I'm gonna go this way, maybe.
Right,
Playing
right
trucks.
deep mud.
Sounds efficient.
Yeah. He's trying to get out of the mud. Oh no! Hit the silo. Oops.
Just jumped right out and got you.
I don't think I'm going the right way. Can't see
Oh yeah, we
anything.
need to look. We need to look at our map first.
Yeah, I can't see shit. Map. Wait, that's not the map. This is the map. Oh, it's back at the garage. That was the arrow I think I was heading towards.
Yes.
And the other two are way over there. That's really far.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Now we're gonna do some driving.
Okay, well. We can just recover to go back to the garage, right?
Yes.
Do that. Because I'm lazy. Also, I smashed my car into a silo.
This game is a lot of driving, so choosing to do driving is logical.
Okay.
I would say if we could unlock some new tires, but it doesn't seem like we can unlock them until rank 6.
I know, I gotta pick up another trailer. Okay. Oh god, I ran into it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry! Backing up!
Apologize to Trailer Son.
I'm sorry, trailer. I'm not good at backing up. Or going
Activating
forward.
all sorts of missions.
Nope, tires need to go this way. Nope, backwards. Sure, close enough, probably.
Right, close enough. Probably fine.
Hello, menu? Open.
Oh. It's way
There
too
it
far.
goes. Cargo. Remove cargo? I don't have any cargo. Wait,
Nope, you got it.
I'm too
You got real
far.
close to the trailer, but not close enough to the hinge of it. And you can also cheat it if you don't want to do that. You can just quick winch to the trailer and then pull it to your hitch.
Oh, I'm just not good at backing up. I'm not good at backing up in real life either, so
These
backup
are
cameras were
applicable life
made for
skills.
people like me.
What did you say?
I said backup cameras were made for people like me.
Oh.
You're doing it. You're doing it.
I'm doing it. Yay! I ran into it. Smash.
Oh. Keep going. Pull forward a little bit.
Go. Go, truck. Too much truck.
Too much forward. Alright, grab out there, throw on your handbrake.
Okay. It just says remove cargo.
What?
Oh, attached trailer. There it is. I got
Heck
it.
yeah.
I just can't read.
There's a lot to read.
Can't back up, can't read.
I know. How am I a functioning human being? It's crazy. To the farm. Alright, I'm not gonna get stuck in that mud this time.
I believe you.
I'm 2 for 2 so far.
Well,
Oh god! See? Why did it turn like that? That's crazy.
you hop the curb and I don't know why my truck started bouncing.
What happened?
Alright, moment of truth.
Oh. I got distracted.
That was a really bad start to that moment of truth.
Okay, no, we're good. We're good. I got this. We're good.
Oh, we're doing it. First try.
Go cargo.
Dang, that is efficient not being in that ditch.
Yeah, it is. Meow. Go truck. You can do it. Do it. Believe in you. Slowly but surely.
Yeah, these early game trucks are good to get the job done.
They are a learning experience.
Kind of some bullshit. It's bullshit.
I don't know how she figured that out. She saw right through our clever wording.
It's almost as if I know you.
What? No.
No. No. Hey, no fair! Get back here!
Now, winch onto me. We'll zoom off.
Why?
Heck yeah.
Zooming.
Oh, we are increasing productivity.
Zooming. Meow. Faster than the speed of smell.
Gross.
That's a strong smell.
It's also arguably like one of our slowest senses.
That's the joke. I can't remember the comedian's name now. It was the tater salad guy. Rick something.
Yeah, I know who
You
you're
know what I'm
talking about.
He's talking about flying in this itty bitty airplane. And he's like, we're going faster than the speed of smell. It's like a pack of gum with wings.
I would both love and hate to fly in a plane like that someday.
I've done it before. It's not fun. It's a little puddle jumper.
Oh yeah, where it's got like the 24 seats in it.
Yeah. I'm so close to getting in the square.
I'm just
I
having
put myself-
flashbacks to running out of
myself
gas.
right in the thick of it. Oh, I'm not, and then I'm stuck. Oh no.
Well, I'm in the square, kind of. My cargo isn't.
Oh yeah, you probably should. You could be able to, if you have the cargo management button, you should be able to
Oh, I do.
offload it.
Unload.
Heck yeah,
Oh. Did I unload?
we did.
Okay. Now what?
Now we can go get bricks and wooden planks.
Okay, and that's those ones way over there. Except I'm stuck.
Yeah, I have to recover. I'm not getting out of this.
Okay.
And then for you, you'll have to detach the trailer. It won't let you recover with the trailer attached.
Boom.
Yeah.
Truck store. Customize. I can paint it a different color?
Oh, there's colors. There's mirror danglies.
I can be pink? I can have a girly truck.
Heck yeah, girl power.
Yeah, for all the feminists out there. Oh, but there's also this cool one, blue one with the white stripies on it.
We got multicolors.
That's kind of cool. There's an ugly brown red.
Oh god.
Accessories. You can put curtains? Oh, you have to pay for accessories.
We ain't got curtain money yet.
No. What the hell is that thing? What is that? Pipe monster. What the fuck?
Jeez.
What is that?
I have no idea.
It's crazy.
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
And for some reason, he's $800. It's the most expensive air freshener I've ever seen. Okay, sorry, I got just.
You gotta accessorize.
Now I'm a blue truck.
For these ones, if you want to throw on, if you wanted to buy a flatbed attachment for your truck, that would be good for getting these next ones.
Oh, okay.
Or she could pull the bed off of the GMC.
Yeah, if you wanted to save some money, recall your GMC, and then pull the sideboard bed off of it.
I mean, I got $4,900.
Spend it.
Oh, we rolling. Get a
Should I
flatbed
buy?
or a sideboard.
Okay, where are those at?
Is it at the bottom of
Frame
the?
add-ons?
There you go.
Yeah. Flatbed? Whoa.
Heck yeah, flatbed.
Alright, cool. I have opened up a handful of missions for us.
So I can do the sideboard bed or the flatbed. And that'll be all my money.
They're functionally the same.
Oh, it's just looks
Whichever one you like looking at.
Sure. This one was cheaper.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah, let's go.
That is the right early game decision.
I play city management games. I know how to save money.
I don't.
My truck's no longer naked.
Whoa. I got out of the hole and saved the trailer.
It's all good. That's also me. I'm back in.
Oh. You both
I'm back in rotation.
You were dooming what cheese noises were sounding like.
Well, you know.
Okay, there's no arrows on my map anymore. Or on my...
Yeah, they'll pop up when you get closer.
Closer to where, though? That's the problem. I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah, so if you open up your map now, you can plan out a route with your right trigger.
Wait, it says I have to go back to the farm. Huh?
It needs you. It says that down arrow is a drop off point.
Oh, but where is the pickup arrows go? Oh, they're way over here. That's right. You set a waypoint. Oh yeah, you said I could draw a route.
Yes. Yeah, multi-point route.
Okay, how do I do that? I'm sorry. Sorry to tell me.
No, you go good.
Right.
Right trigger.
Right trigger. Whoa, okay. I put it in the wrong spot. Alright, so I'm gonna go up here. It makes a straight line. Wait.
Yeah, you're gonna have to kind of just like connect the dots along where you want to go.
Oh, I see.
It's a plotting system,
I gotcha.
not a GPS.
I wish it was a GPS. That would be sick.
That would be nice.
Yeah, it would.
But thematically, it does kind of fit for this game.
Sure.
Hashtag SnowRunner things.
We are in an area that was just devastated by natural disaster. So.
Oh, did they have an ice storm? That happens a lot in northern Michigan.
No, the dam broke.
Oh, that also happens in northern Michigan.
Damn, Michigan.
Damn. Okay, that should be good enough. Your pretty lines.
What mission are we doing right now?
Something with farm stuff.
Wet harvest.
What the hell?
Probably switch to local tax and set up some infrastructure if you wanted to after that. For this one.
Yeah, I went and found a bunch of those. So we're
You can set up infrastructure?
Like the
Yep.
like the bridge you built in the beginning kind of thing.
Oh, I never actually built it. I kept crashing and I gave up.
It was after the watchtower.
Yeah, I did the
So
watch.
you were on the way to building the bridge.
Yeah, I got the watchtower and then I stopped. Basically.
This is one of those games where the tutorial kind of even makes or breaks the whole game for you.
Yeah, yeah, you know.
If you walk out of the tutorial not happy, you're probably not going to love this game.
I mean, I'll play it with friends. It's definitely going to be one of those.
Yeah.
Or if you guys hit me up and you're like, hey, we're going to play. Do you want to play? And I'll be like, yeah, play trucks.
No, we clocking in.
Way easier without a trailer.
Yeah, it is. I drug it back through here, and it was empty, and that was awful. Get out of the rut. Daylight.
Yeah, fuck that nighttime shit. Like bullshit.
It's awful.
Hi, Zeph! Look, I'm trucking! I'm playing in the mud. Truck or cheat? Yeah, I tried to find a trucker hat for my model. I couldn't. I didn't have time to find one. That would have been funny.
Did you break that? Or
Yeah. Yes.
okay.
Oh no!
Get out of me.
Oh no! Truck's a squirrely bitch.
Yep.
It's pretty over here, though.
Now I want a trucker hat just for my default Discord icon.
Yeah, do it.
I am default fluid. What is this? Please start.
Star. How could you ever forget?
The best scout in the game.
There's a tree over the road. I'm gonna run
Run
it
it over.
over. Yum! Yum!
I can't big truck.
Fuck you, tree! Can't stop me. Can't stop, won't stop.
It's out.
No.
Really depends on the tree.
Yeah, it was a little tree. I probably could have ran it over with my Kia.
Wow, gee, look at this bridge you built.
Wow. Oh, I built this? Oh, okay.
You built this.
Oh, I did. I built this.
All you had to do was hit that one button, and it built the bridge.
Yeah, I don't know why construction takes so long.
Right? Why does it take them guys years to build things? I did it in 2 seconds. Oh, I might be going the wrong way. I think I was supposed to turn back there.
Did you follow your path?
Yeah, I was supposed to turn back there.
Oh no.
Whoops.
Either way, there's
there is an
bricks this way
alternate.
and wood planks the other way.
They're both this way. Okay. Oh, I see. Oh, wait, there's arrows everywhere. How am I supposed to know where to go? Alright, we will forego this one.
Alright, so there's really only...
I got that. Push on buttons. We need bricks and wood. So the lumber mill is where the wood is, right? So where are the bricks at?
bricks are on the far east side.
East.
There also might be a trailer with bricks on it.
There's a trailer with 1 brick on it.
Okay, which way is east?
The right side.
I know, but I would. But depending on where you have the camera turned, which right side? There's no compass.
It's,
There is a
there's
compass. I see it. I see it now.
They got it. You got it.
Okay, so this is north, so this is east over here. Where's the farm?
There are 2 trailers.
One of them's a saddle low, the flatbed.
Yeah, I'm seeing that.
There's the scout all the way up north, but that's a long ways away. That's outside of our fuel range.
So these ones are just
Oh.
trailers? Interesting.
Yeah, for some reason, people left perfectly good supplies just sitting on trailers.
Still don't see where
all
the bricks are. Well,
yeah, the bricks are all the way east, just above the garage, in a warehouse.
oh, above the garage.
In the darkness.
Oh, that's why I can't see them, because it's in the darkness.
Into darkness.
In the darkness. Alright, well, we're still closer to the lumber. Just gotta back up. No big deal.
Back, I think.
You can back up or you can come. There's an alternate path if you come to where I'm at.
I don't know where you're at. Where are you at?
Ahead of you. Just on the other side of the water.
Water? Can I go
The water that's over the road.
Oh.
Don't drive through the signs. Will mess you up, but you go around them. Yeah. Those street barriers will wreck your truck.
Seriously? That's crazy.
It's something in their physics. Just makes them get caught up in your undercarriage.
I'm gonna get stuck in this water. Oh my god, my camera went weird. I did it. I'm here.
Yeah, we're water trucks now.
Solution. Just follow you.
Follow me into that tree.
Oh no.
Sit
Turn my
on the
camera
trucks.
around. And then turn my camera around to see where you were.
Oh gosh. Losing control.
Too fast, too furious.
Yeah, that's the first tower I found.
You could also probably just drive straight to here.
Oh, yeah, I see that. Whee!
you go in that square, you'll get the cargo load.
Whoa. Whoa. Am I supposed to get all of it?
You can.
Do now.
We'll need 2 bundles of wood planks. So.
Oh,
Yep.
I got 2. Let's go.
Yeah.
Now we gotta take it to the farm.
Back to old Bessie.
See, I'm not good at navigating.
Yeah, go right here.
Remember, that's why I have to have a map mod in Minecraft.
Yeah.
Oh no. Now we're in a trucker game. This is great. Doing it.
Huh? Lola. I told you I let her out. She's fine. She was out there playing. I'm going the right way.
You are. You'll turn left when we hit the pavement.
My engine too. The numbers mean nothing to me. I don't know what they mean.
Don't worry, damage is cosmetic. It'll be fine.
Took 2 damage.
Oh,
Earlier I hit something really small and it took like 6 damage. I was like, what the heck?
yeah.
It's like arbitrary.
Don't hit those barricades.
They're like 100 damage.
They will body your truck.
That's crazy.
You'll find some 2-digit numbers that are real quick.
They'll get like stuck in your undercarriage. Left.
Blender.
Woo. Oh! Jesus. Back over the bridge? Hey, which way do I go?
Yes. Yes, over the bridge. Over the bridge. Back to the old farmer's house.
Hi Lola, was you playing outside? Sorry, wait. I don't know where I'm going. I'm assuming you'll tell me if I turn the wrong direction.
Maybe.
Exactly.
Guess. It's like taxes. We know where you gotta go, but you gotta guess.
Wait. Stop. Ow. Ow. Ow.
What happened?
No,
SnowRunner
nothing.
things.
Just
Oh.
SnowRunner things. We're not causing traffic jams back here.
Go truck.
I'm saving so much fuel right now.
Is this awful?
Wait, I was supposed to turn back everything. Maybe?
Nope, you
Oh,
got
no, it's up
the
here.
little arrow.
Yeah, but I thought that was the way into the farm back there. Wait, there's this thing. Oh. Turn. Meow. Go truck, go. No, no, hit the pole. Bitch.
Jumped right out in front of you.
It did. He was so skinny, I missed him. Right. I did it.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Now we traverse into the great unknown.
Oh,
Where the
no.
bricks on.
Okay. I prefer to follow somebody because I don't know where I'm going.
Gotcha, we can do that.
I get lost.
We got, if you want to do a recover, we'll start from the garage with full tank of gas.
Oh, alright.
Yeah, we want to get the. Do you want to get the watchtower first, or do we just want to head straight there because we know the road?
We get the watchtower first. It'll unlock it on the map, right? We do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It'll make the map gray instead of black.
I was trapped in my office.
No, no.
Sounds awful.
Yeah, it is. I'm ready.
I think this is the zigzag
Oh,
one on top of the mountain watchtower.
Might be.
This might be a good one for the Chevy pickup truck.
oh. Maybe do a switch? How do I switch to the
Yeah. Go back in the garage, and then oh, your truck is out on the map.
truck? It is?
Yep.
Oh man,
Yeah,
where is
so-
it? Where'd I leave it? Oh shit.
Yeah, so if you go to the map, you can scroll down to the Chevy CK 1500, and you can get into it by clicking on it from there.
Oh, we're by the lumber yard.
Yeah, but if you hit, while you have the car hovered on the left side, you can hit A and get into it. There you go.
Sick. Whoa. Cool. I wanna paint my
Oh, we
truck.
can slap new tires on the Chevy. Oh, but they're expensive.
I only have $700.
It's too expensive.
I know what'll help, Garrett. Let's give her a DLC truck. How about the Bandit?
Yikes. No,
Oh god.
sounds awful.
What's
Oh,
happening?
jeez.
What's happening?
I don't know. I think we left at the same time and SnowRunner things. Alright, I blew the money on the good tires in case we get stuck. Or better tires? Better tires.
Are you both taking scout vehicles?
Oh yeah. Okay, 'cause if it's what I remember, this is going up into the mountain. I Might be good to go this way.
Oh god.
Oh, yeah, that's the
I'm
stuck. Deadliest hole in this entire map.
Well, I
Grab
fell
me.
in it. Grab
There you go. Yeah, never drive through that mud.
It's just unnecessarily deep.
There's that one, and there's one if you take the other road that to the right here. Don't. Yeah, that's got a bad spot too. You'll learn.
Come on, truck. It's supposed to be like a rock, bro. Drive over that shit.
It is like a rock. She's cold, uncomfortable.
I think you might cut out for the second half of the joke. We'll never know.
Fortunate.
I heard cold and uncomfortable. I thought that was the whole joke. I'm stuck.
and unforgiving.
Oh, and unforgiving. Meow. Whee!
So you do have your all-wheel on, right?
Yeah,
Okay, good.
kind of feels like bullshit. It's pretend all wheel,
Still highway tires.
right?
Yeah, it's bad. We're gonna go around that mud profile.
Oh, didn't go around enough.
Oh no.
It's the worst.
Oh no.
I keep getting stuck. Whoa. Dang, I just like flew out of there.
Yeah, I winched you while I was moving, so you get a bungee effect.
You like Maynard me.
Maynard?
Yeah, like the tow truck from Cars. Maynard.
Mater?
Oh, no. Mater.
Well, you know what I meant.
M-
Tow Mater.
Toe Maynard.
Maynard.
Tow.
Everybody knows Toe Maynard.
Stop. I misspoke.
Oh goodness. You're gonna be so rude.
It'll be
My
in way.
bumper!
Why are you trying to mount him
I'm sorry.
like that?
That's how baby trucks are made.
Jeez. I'm just a bee. Just a little truck.
I'm cruising now.
This is what I call pod racing.
Whoa. The guy in the truck uses his full chest to push on the horn. It's like so
Full sends
aggressive. It's so aggressive horn honking. It's crazy.
Shoot, if I saw some...
Oh
Oh
god!
jeez.
Oh,
Oh no!
Oh god, no! Oh jeez! Oh god, I'm gonna die!
I just... Well, that's my bad.
Oh god! Help!
Oh no, there we go. No? What the heck? I grabbed every tree around you except for you.
Okay.
You found a tree.
I did somehow. I don't know how I did, but I did.
Revenge.
Oh god!
No, no.
Came out of nowhere, bro.
Yeah, did that thing where you were talking about earlier, where you flip the joystick one way and it goes.
Why is there a hard hat? What does that mean?
It's a task.
Oh. Oh no, there's no bridge. Well, it's the end of the road, guys. Game
Oh.
over.
Let's just
All right.
I'm just kidding.
Well,
If you get in the yellow circle, you do a C task. Did we already accept that one?
I already accepted it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, then we're good. We're good to
Mountain
go.
Bridge. Oh, I'm not stopping. Hello.
Whoa. Well, yeah, you didn't have your handbrake on. You just expected to put it on for you?
My bad.
One of those fancy Kias.
We're trucking.
I have a handbrake in my Kia. What do you mean?
Does it put it on for you
It's
automatically?
actually just like a tiny little lever. It's not even like a real
Oh,
handbrake.
Yeah, I don't like those
Yeah, no, it's weird.
because it defeats the purpose. Like they're like it's a parking brake. I'm like, yeah, what are the brakes for?
I forgot how useful these tires actually are. Zoom.
That's why I stuck with the best scout in the game.
Animal. I thought this was the one with the real tight zigzags, so I thought this was gonna be useful.
It might be on the other side.
I think it's the next watchtower. From here.
Whoa, I got promoted.
Heck yeah.
Ooh, pretty. Wow, look at that. So pretty over there.
Wow.
King of the
Okay,
Hill! I don't know you!
That's my purse.
That's my first! Oh no, 7! I took a 7! I don't know where I'm going. Where am I going?
Well, we revealed the garage, so now we can either go back and get the truck to get it,
Oh no!
get the supplies, or we could go on and get the next watchtower.
I love how that did 0 damage to my enemy, but I barely hit a rock and it does like a million.
Yeah, so the game actually does. Like if I hit you, I take damage. No, usually.
I got you. Meow.
Got the exploring truck, so let's go to the watchtower.
Oh, no.
I found the deepest of mud here, I guess.
I'm going!
Send it.
Oh no!
Don't stop. The mud will catch you.
Oh no, there's like a river. Oh no, I'm fucked! I'm gonna drown! I've made mistakes.
Now I'm sad that I went the wrong direction.
It's super muddy over here.
That was awful. Came out of nowhere.
My truck's so dirty. Working hard.
You're crazy. How'd you do that?
You're crazy.
Oh.
Getting swirly.
She fish tailing. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Going. I see the watchtower. I'm blinded by the sun. Oh god, it hurts.
Don't put that there.
I don't know where I'm going. Just going up.
That's all we can do.
It's a moment.
No, no. Stop.
Oh no, the fence!
Frick that fence.
The fence. Whee!
Heck yeah. Mark trucks.
Yeah. Oh god. I'm scared of falling down the hill.
Oh, we're doing it.
Where are we going? Going down?
I don't know.
Going down, down.
You'll be around.
There's another watchtower over there in that mountain. You can see it.
Let's go there.
Okay.
Is a road that way or through the log station?
Ooh, log station.
God, why would you...
We're going through the log station.
I mean, I don't know. I was just saying that. I wasn't making.
No,
suggestions.
it's a canon event. You have to go.
Oh no!
It's a canon event.
Oh shit! Lore time.
Forged through the crucible of the logging stations.
Oh no! I regret the decision I didn't actually make.
Oh, you chose
That's
it.
like most of my life.
Oh yeah, these little stumps here,
Yeah.
they'll sneak up on you, but never try to drive over one.
Okay.
The
Ow.
physics is not nice.
Oh no.
Oh, bonk. The physics is not nice to get over them.
Okay.
Stumps might be meaner than barricades.
Yikes. That's pretty mean, yeah.
Okay, that was fine because we have all-wheel drive and no trailer on us, so we got through the log station just fine.
Yeah, that doesn't seem so bad.
Yeah.
You didn't have to actually go to get logs.
Right?
Having
We just jumped in the big open middle part.
having flashbacks.
I know.
Garrett, help.
I can't. I'm through the station. I'm not going back.
Oh no, it's getting dark.
Oh. Yeah, we'll sometimes get to the road. I get it.
Whoa. Wrong button. Wrong button. Daytime
Is
actually
left the
lasts-
best way.
Like, daytime actually lasts a pretty long time in this game.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Way longer than Minecraft.
Oh no! Don't. Oh no!
Oh.
Oh, that's all. Oh. Don't go that. Don't go that way.
Oh
that
no. Michael's like, I'll go that way.
Just don't. You learn to spot the mud.
Can't see camera.
Camera help.
I will say the camera in this game is kind of crap.
Help me step, truck. Step.
Oh god, that tree exploded when you ran over it.
Frick that tree.
Just said,
Don't go here.
boom.
Don't follow me.
Oh, you almost bungee corded me back in.
Thank you.
Son you learn to spot the mud, and then sometimes you just learn to realize when you're already in the mud. Mountain climb.
Best scout in the game.
Oh,
Watch
Okay.
tower. Oh no!
no! You almost took me with it.
That was actually not who I meant to grab onto. I meant to grab the watchtower.
Goodness.
Oh, sorry. I didn't get much sleep last night. I'm super tired today.
Oof. Alright, we got a good chunk of the map.
Alright.
Oh, we got all, that was the last watchtower. Alright,
Yep.
let's recover and go get big trucks for the bricks for the farm.
Big trucks. Wow, the map looks so big now.
Huge.
Huge. Humongous.
Excuse me.
Oh wait, I was supposed to switch trucks, wasn't I?
Yeah. Yeah, the little Chevy can't carry the big
can't haul bricks.
cargoes. Beep beep.
Here I am.
Heck yeah.
Oh god! It's coming in hot! Ow! I got an alley.
Would you take a 3?
Oh yeah. Wait, I don't know what it was.
Whichever it was, it's probably fine.
Yeah. It's fine. Where am I going? Am I following you?
Sure.
Yep. So you can take the road just to the left there, and it goes around. But this little off-road path is.
More and more.
Shoot, maybe.
Uh-oh.
It's got better grip. Is your all-wheel drive on, Garrett?
Yeah, it is.
By the way, Chi, whenever you
Goodness.
recover, your all-wheel drive resets. Didn't notice that.
Yeah, mine was actually. Oh, yes, I did notice that. But
Yeah.
I just switched trucks and it's still on. Stuck.
Keep wiggling.
Keep getting stuck to this thing.
Don't worry, Garrett, I got it. Ah.
Yeah. Pull 'em.
And then you want to hang to the right here. Because that giant mud pit in front of you is no fun.
Yeah, that was.
Whereas this small mud pit that we're in is slightly better.
I've stubbornly spent 20 minutes driving through that road.
What?
Only 20?
Ah. time starts to dilate after a while. This is so good.
You can go either.
Just as the way.
Yeah, I think your way is definitely the faster of the two.
Yeah. This is too
Hi, Giga. How goes trucking? I'm not very good at it. We're getting there. How are you? So hi again, Lambert. I was so busy trucking I forgot to look at chat. Sorry.
That time will dilate.
Got that trucking tunnel vision. Oh, truck. What you doing? Your flippy lid. Flapping around up there. Top of your smokestack. Was that a game I would fail spectacularly at? Yeah. It's you.
But you get to do it with friends, and that's
Yeah, that's the fun part.
so that there's witnesses for when you fail epically.
Yeah, that's why earlier when you guys were like, do you want to play? I'm like, well, I got to stream. That might be fun to stream.
Heck yeah. Work needs doing.
I forgot just how much of a mud pit it is this way.
Yep. I didn't.
Lots of clippable moments of how crap. I'm gonna push you.
No, don't.
I'm gonna push you.
Pavement.
Pushes them up. They did it to me earlier. It pushed me right off the mountain.
No.
Yes.
And I'll do it again.
And I'll do it again. I don't know you.
Alright, save wait for you. I'll take one break.
Okay, so I'm ordering you lunch.
Yeah.
Got the bricks. I'm mighty, carrying these bricks downtown. Oh god! That bridge fucked up my camera! What the hell was that thing? Oh, it's like a crane thing.
Just a little overhead crane. A little
Yeah.
silly overhead.
When I drove under it, it messed up my camera.
Yeah. Cameras are great in this game.
Stop it.
Yeah, looking ahead to see best path.
Yeah, navigate.
Probably back the way you came.
Probably back the way I came. Because otherwise we have to go from the back end of the farm, and that's just.
Where's
a whole
truck
bunch of
3? We went a different way and then got stuck in the mud, I think.
Mud claimed him.
Where
We'll never see him again.
are you at, Michael?
I'm right here.
You behind me?
No, right in front.
He made it.
Oh, there you are.
I was just getting rid of the fog of war by going the other way.
Honk.
Oh, goodness, Mud.
Oh, there he is. That doesn't look good.
It's thick.
Yep. Made Garrett look like a noob with how well you handled that.
Sorry, guys, first time.
is some bullshit.
It's either rain or sun in your eyes. It's something. It's always something.
That sound was like blinding me.
I'm about to get stuck going downhill.
Yep.
I help.
I know! Oh, you got horns on your truck? That's cool. Might make more mud, but whatever. Yeah. It'll be fine.
Thankfully, the weather does not impact the roads. That's good.
I don't know where to go.
They're garbage anyway.
There you are. Oh no! I'm scared. Oh no! I hit a pole!
Oh no, you're pulled.
Took 5 engine damage.
What they say.
Engine damage.
No? What did they say?
And
Oh, okay.
we're just gonna slowly introduce you to all of our SnowRunner jokes.
Right?
SnowRunner rhythms.
One of us.
We all bundle.
We all run in the snow.
Where's the snow?
Alaska.
Stuff. We're in northern Michigan. There should be snow here. That actually stuck in really slow. Oh, nice.
Ow.
Oh, baby. Oh no. I ran into the chi hole.
Don't go in the chi hole!
It's awful there.
Uh-oh.
You can also grab trees as well. Some of them will.
I pulled the tree down.
Yep. Some of them will break. That is the thing.
Well, that was useless.
Welcome to Michigan trees.
Hey! Hey!
You understand? You now understand why we call them weak-ass Michigan trees?
Yes. She will be remembered. I'm not dead.
Okay, bye.
No, don't leave me. Come back. Help.
Oh, she has the supplies. We have to go back.
I'm just a little bun. Help a girl out.
Oh, no, I sat for too long and get in the sink.
No, I don't see.
Ah, fine.
Made it back to the farm.
Goodness. Say let's never do that again. We're gonna.
Oh man.
The farmer just needs all the things.
Money.
Look at that! Look at that payday. That's a new set of tires right there.
Oh yeah, tires. That tree.
Get tired.
That tree will be remembered.
The one that exploded, or
The one that I pulled down.
all right? Do we want to do mountain? What did you just hit? Dad. Do you want to do mountain bridge?
Sure.
Restore that mountain. Nope. Restore the bridge.
Mountain
Not the
bridge or.
We're gonna
fallen
build
power
a
lines
mountain.
Fallen
Yep.
power lines might be better to do first,
Okay.
Yeah.
because that clears the road to Mountain Bridge.
Fair enough.
All right. Where are we going back to the garage? What are we doing?
Yeah, we can go.
To like fuel up and whatnot.
Go. Yeah. I'm just plotting out a route.
Okay, that ramped flatbread has concrete blocks on it. There's a town storage has metal beams.
What kind of tire
Mhm.
should I get? Oh, I only have two choices.
Yeah, I don't think we unlocked anything for the truck we're driving now, but for that
Yeah.
Chevy, you get
I
all
have-
terrain.
I have two sets of tires for the truck I'm driving now, but they're still just highway tires.
I
Oh,
wouldn't have
yeah.
bought more highway tires.
Okay, I won't bother then.
Yeah, it's only really worth it to buy because like none of the like there'll be like 6 different types of tires in highway and in off road. It only changes the appearance. They all function the same.
Dang, these DLC
it-
trucks are cool! I want this Jeep! It's cool! And whatever this thing is cool! A bandit.
Oh, yeah.
The Bandit looks real cool.
It looks real cool. It's probably shitty to drive, right?
Well, imagine the truck you're driving, slow, unwieldy, not all that helpful,
Oh man.
but with twice as much suspension,
So it's really
so it
bouncy.
just bounces.
I want this Jeep though, that's cool. I'll paint it pink.
Heck yeah. Pink it
The
all.
yard.
It's the Marshall.
Oh. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, mine must be out somewhere. Or was it the one I was using earlier? I don't know.
Oh no, 7.
You know what they say? 7.
Oh no.
Are you heading for metal beams?
Yeah.
Where are we going? Where am I going?
All right, come back to the farm, and then we'll get
Back to the farm.
the
Oh,
yeah,
man.
but not in the farm. Just drive past the farm.
I just ran into my truck and wrecked it.
Oh heck!
I'm playing Twisted Metal. What are you guys doing?
Dibs on Axel.
Oh my gosh. We could show her the death hill in the dam. the coasting hill. We got time to get
Damn
there.
Death Hill. Oh, the yeah, I know what you're talking about.
The coasting hill.
It's one of the few just downhill paved roads that you can just throw in neutral and go super fast.
I'm stuck. Help!
No, you're fine.
You're right. Got this.
How are you?
It's that shitty
How's it
tree.
That gas Michigan tree.
Where's that bullshit tree at? Fucking Douglas fir.
You, Douglas fir.
High school with that guy. What a dick.
It's the state tree of Michigan. It's the Douglas fir. It's a
That
pine
explains
tree.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yep. Doug was always pretty weak.
Stop talking smack about Doug.
Doug Funny?
Never. No, Doug Fur.
Oh. I thought you were talking shit about Quail Man.
I don't have a death wish. That's the movie I want to get cleared for an R rating.
Doug Funny?
Quail Man.
Quail Man. Alright, I'm back over
We
by
got
the farm.
Deadpool. We got Wolverine.
Yeah.
Give me the dark, gritty Quail Man story.
Hell yeah.
Get off the dang mud road.
Trying. It's really slow.
I wish this game had the same physics as Farming Sim, to where you could just crank the wheel and tornado the truck.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing. There's some fun
I
things
think-
about Farm Sim. That's why there's others there aren't.
I feel like this isn't faster than the mud road.
Fine, go back to the mud road until you let me know.
I don't know. I had a decent time with Farm Sim, and I had the worst introduction to it I could have ever had.
Oh, drunk Chris?
Yeah, just plowing a field at random. I'm just saying, I've got pictures that my niece has colored that were more inside the lines.
That is crop
Oh god,
roast.
it's coming at me!
Oh, this thing's got 4 of them on it.
New trailer discovered.
Heck yeah.
I also just realized I drove past where I need to go.
Yeah, you did.
I was just driving, having a good time, man.
Are they just,
You
they're
wanna
just-
hook up to this thing?
I don't know, I'm scared.
I believe in you. You don't get it.
Okay.
Oh, I got stuck in the mobile home. Hold on. Let me.
Don't get
That's
stuck in the mobile home!
Oh, it's got a hold of me. It won't let me go. I take damage range. Get out. Oh, yep. Nope. I'm stuck in physics. Okay. Goodbye.
Bye. Don't worry, by the time you get back, I'll have just hooked up to the trailer.
Heck yeah.
Straighten out.
Excuse me.
And I push this button. Whoops. I'm not backed up. Brom, brom, brom. Trailer is too far away.
Yeah, I think you need to do the sound effects for this game.
I did it.
Can we get a mod pack of your voiceover for the sound effects? That'd be sick.
Just, just me
Wow.
making random
Wow.
noises.
Brrrr.
Wait, that would be fucking hilarious for a video. SnowRunner, but I don't have any sound effects.
I don't know why, but that reminds me of the person who coded their Roomba to swear every time it ran into something.
That would be epic. Oh my god, that would be so fun. I just remembered I
Stuck in a
gotta
corner.
take my vitamins.
The way he talked about it in the video, he like shows it and then it cuts to like him and his wife having dinner, and then just the Roomba yelling like, "Turn it!"
My aunt named her Roomba. She named it Becky. So every time it does something stupid, she's like, "Fucking damn it, Becky!"
It's a good name to curse.
Yeah, it's really funny.
Uh-oh.
I got dropped.
I got booted.
Oh no!
I'm glad I turned in those metal beams before I got booted.
Yeah.
Should be the same code, right?
We'll find out.
Let me know and I'll get a new one. I have to.
Good to go.
Wait. Yeah, whenever
I
I
just
like,
made it back to the trailer.
whenever I exit the game to like do something in OBS, it like freezes me trying to get back into it. Like when I exit the window.
Hashtag SnowRunner things.
I love that the code is specific on capitalization.
Yeah. And that the Xbox auto capitalizes.
Yep, it's great.
ChiiFett. My cousin, ChiiFett.
Where did be my trailer?
Oh god, I don't even know if I can pull this trailer. I might have a problem.
I believe in you.
I'm stuck. I'm not strong enough.
It's a mighty trailer.
I guess so. Jesus.
It does have 4 concrete slabs on it.
Well, I guess I'm stuck.
I don't know.
Can't
Can you
go.
winch to a tree to get some momentum built?
Stump.
Guys, I'll be there in a second.
Got out of the hole. Almost ran over a mailbox.
Good thing federal offenses aren't allowed here.
That would be a WAP mod. There's traffic violations.
You can't disconnect from that tree.
Yeah, the tree didn't break. That's good.
You found
You're
one.
only connected. Oh, there you go. It's like it's only connecting to trees. You're gonna have to pull me while I pull the trailer if we're gonna get anywhere.
We're doing it. We just gotta get you to the pavement. Oh no, I'm up over the thing. This
Oh
is
no.
fine.
Sorry.
This is fine.
Let's
Go on. You go on without me.
Oh no. I can't.
Oh,
I
goodness.
can't.
Oh no. What?
Maybe
Alright.
I should push you actually. Oh.
There you go. It's
I
ridiculous.
know. One engine. You know what? While I
What'd
wait
they
for you
say?
to come back, I'm gonna make it daytime.
Heck yeah.
I don't know where I'm going.
Keep going.
Can't go through
Here,
the mud.
yeah,
I won't make it.
No, don't do that. From here on, from here it's easy. You just gotta make the turn right.
Nope. There. I'm stuck.
Shift to the left a little bit. Kind of grab that softer, that harder hack on the left.
Right. Oh no. Whoop. Work.
This is.
Work.
I don't know if you've ever heard Zeph talk about how it's like barks time.
I what? He only barks one time.
He just like when healers, he's just like whoa.
And then that's it.
That's
Wait,
he's literally
that's hilarious.
His head's back down. He didn't care.
He was like, just so you know. All right, I'm done. I did my job. It's funny.
Two.
Oh, we got
Feeling
two
alright,
for
bud?
That was like a little
Feeling
boof.
alright, bud?
That was a little boof
Yeah,
under
good.
there. A little boofing.
orphan.
He boof sometimes.
Work.
Oops, when he tried to board.
So, I don't think this truck was meant to pull this trailer.
That trailer is just a rough one.
It's big and heavy, and I'm stuck again.
No, you're not.
I am. Taking this birch tree with me. Oh god!
Oh!
Came out of nowhere, bro!
I tried to sneak in there.
I was attached to that tree. Alright, I'm stuck again.
Oh no.
Not the baby tree! That's not gonna do shit! Stupid winch.
Did you call me?
You heard me.
Oh,
I said what I said.
dang. Get out of the way. Shit. I'm winching over here.
Okay, bonk. Well, bonk.
Everything's fine.
What is
Almost.
happening?
Oh,
What is
everything's
happening?
everything's fine. Okay. Okay, make that right turn.
Turn right.
Yeah.
I almost turned right too much.
Yeah, back and forth should go smoothly.
I almost turned
There's
right
no
too
backing.
close to
There's
the
no
sun.
backing this trailer.
No.
Wait, it says show task. Is this not where I'm going?
Oh, you need to track
hold.
it.
Huh? Say again?
You need to track the track the task. So you gotta go through the map. Go to task on the tab list, and then find fallen power line.
And make sure you don't restart it.
Okay. Go to the map. Where is it at?
Tasks.
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 And which one?
And then fallen power line.
Fallen power line. And what button do I push so I don't restart it?
Uh,
Right on the D-pad should be track.
yeah.
Oh.
It'll hit A into it, and then go and hit the
It says
correct
stop,
pad.
It says stop tracking.
Oh. You've been okay. Well, we're doing it now, and so yeah, go into cargo management.
Oh.
Yeah, back it back all the way out, and should be good.
There we go.
Heck yeah.
I did it.
Infrastructured.
So I saw a big trailer with a bunch of stuff on it.
Yes.
Okay, where are we going now?
Just go ahead and find a spot where you can turn off the road, and then just detach and leave that there.
Don't do that.
Okay.
Hang on.
Oh. There's Mountain
Go up
Bridge.
the road. Mountain Bridge needs them.
Oh heck yeah.
Where are we going?
Go
We're going
straight. Yeah, we'll follow this road until we hit the mountain bridge. Then I'll zoom back and get the beams.
Are you doing that? Okay, cool. I will support the boss.
Oh god! Oh no! I made mistakes!
Oh god.
Ah!
I don't like that none of us can see you.
Uh-oh. That's not good.
Shmi, you were supporting her.
I was looking at the map, and then we
were
just said I just said I'll support
You
her.
were supposed to be supporting. What happened?
I ran off the road by accident.
This is your responsibility.
Oh god, I'm being pulled.
You going forward or backwards?
Just trying to not hit that pole. I overturned, I guess.
And that means something else.
Not literally, but like, I turned too much. Things are be good, fellas. Grrr, go truck, go!
Don't worry, I'm nudging you from behind.
Ayo.
Although this game does not.
There.
The nudges from behind are not like.
The
What?
tree just fell down.
Uh-oh.
Oh, because you drove over it. Right. Yeah, we're moving again.
On the road.
So the rest of this road should be, except for this little bit, it should be fine. This one's also pretty good. You can stay in the middle of it. rutted but not muddy so far.
So, the weight of this
Same
trailer,
time.
I just instantly sink no matter what I do.
Tell that to a rampant.
It's crazy.
Come on, Chi.
I'm
Time to
trying.
go.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
Gotta go. We gotta go work.
Oh no, I don't wanna. That means I gotta put on pants.
Jobs need doing.
One's gotta do 'em.
I at least get a pension.
No.
Is this a union job?
The hours we work? Heck no. But
The
the way
hours
we're
we work?
using,
You didn't even get CDL.
but the way we're using 3 people to do jobs that, one, very union-like.
You're right. Some of us are undercapable, okay?
Come on, Garrett, take the bait. Take the bait. Sorry, I forgot. Union and state work are not the same.
Sometimes. Sometimes they're the same.
Hard hat. Ow. Sorry.
So you're gonna have to wait until Garrett gets. So
Yeah,
some
or you have to wait.
tasks let you just do them in whatever order. This one, if you look at the way it's, it has like a part 1. So the concrete blocks are locked right now.
Which one are we doing?
Mountain Bridge.
Mountain Bridge. Oh, because it says deliver beams on the top.
Yeah. So this one makes you do it in a specific order. Some of them, like if it, you can. This one's 2 separate tasks. The first one being beams, the second one being blocks. You have to do them in order.
Makes sense, because that's how you would build the bridge.
Heck yeah, it's a union bridge.
It's a union bridge.
All bridges, union bridges,
For the most part.
because they bring things together. They connect
So-
them.
So
Aw.
like it's suspension bridges.
Like it's a union.
Why don't they just call them friendship bridges then?
Well, because I don't think a lot of the people who make bridges would take kindly to you calling them friendship.
Heck yeah. I'm ready for concrete blocks. Cutscene.
Can you guys stop cutscening?
Nope. That's all we do.
Money. Alright, the trailer's empty now.
Heck yeah. Now you can throw it off a cliff. Or you can go sell it. Make a lot of money.
Sell it?
Yeah, selling trailers at the trailer stores.
Yeah, back at the garage parking lot, there's a trailer store that you can buy and sell trailers.
Do I have to drive back there with it to do that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't
So just
recover
real-
with the trailer.
Real quick, turn that trailer around and then.
Sure. Right, about that.
Yeah, let me just hold on. Oh, no, hold on. Let me grab your back interior now. There we go. Oh. Okay, now. Oh goodness, it broke. That's fine.
Which way am I going?
Go
Tell me
backwards.
Straight or?
Yeah, just go straight, and I should. It didn't pull it at all. I'm trying my darndest over here.
Oh,
Do
I'm
nothing.
jackknifed.
Okay, just push through it.
I am affecting this trailer 0 at all. Yeah, just keep going. Here we go. This is working better somehow. There you go. Try turn
It's
left.
tipping over.
This is great. This is fine. All right, there you go.
Oh god, I'm gonna drive off the cliff.
Don't do that.
Bold strategy.
Oops. I didn't even go in reverse. Ow. I hit my gas.
Oh yeah.
I'm stuck. I'm not
that thing's
touching the
gonna-
ground anymore.
those things are gonna mess you up too. What am I grabbing down there? Grab the Chi, not whatever's down the mountain.
It's not working.
Can you do it backwards?
Very
Oh, yes.
slowly.
Oh goodness. Try detach the trailer and try to back out of there.
Thought I could do it.
If you got it, go for it.
I thought I did, but then I got stuck again.
Oh yeah.
Stuck really good now.
Yeah, you have to detach the trailer to get out of there. Now pull this out of the way.
I'm stuck. I can't get out. I'm
Okay.
stuck
I'm
like
coming.
this.
I come.
Oh, my gas tank's like stuck on the rock. That's why.
Well, get rid of it. You don't
Yeah,
need that.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's just leaking everywhere right now, probably.
You can't get rid of the gas tank. Goodness. Look, reaching to everything but you.
That's just how the privilege works.
Literally everything but you. Here we go. Put in reverse, G.
Ow, my engine.
That's fine. You don't need one of those. So we'll turn around on this.
What the heck?
You stuck again?
No, I got it. I was.
Okay.
No. Just kidding, I'm stuck again.
Keep going forward. Keep going forward.
There we go. There we go. I almost out of gas.
Oh no.
Because I leaked all over the place, probably.
Oof.
Is your under where your fuel thing is? There's a fuel icon. Is that red?
No, it's actually not damaged so bad.
Okay, cool.
Just like a little 7.
Where are you? Which one are you, Chi?
I'm the blue truck.
Are you?
Just
You're blue.
flatbed.
I'm
Right.
the flatbed.
Alright, you come and get this trailer. You want to go on to the next task, and I'll get it home.
Oh gosh.
There you go. You have fuel again.
Oh, okay, how'd you do that?
You can refuel each other. I just gave you my fuel, and I'll run ahead to the gas
Ow.
station.
Oops.
You love hearing from your truck drivers. Oops.
It was about 20 feet away too, and all the time in the world to stop.
I know. Just kept going.
Up. Oh, we're doing it. Oops. That's right close. Look at that.
Yeah. Okay, before we make this trek, I have to go pee. LBRB.
So, chat. Here's the important question, Garrett. Did she do what's logical and deafen us?
The answer to your question is no.
Yeah, I saw, but I decided not to abuse it.
It's fine. It's for the content. I'm back there. Just some stale cheddar ruffles.
Gross.
They are kind of gross.
So
But
like
my
an-
other chips are all the way downstairs, and I'm lazy.
Like, is that like a new flavor? Stale cheddar?
Yeah. Alright, ready to go back?
On your lead.
I don't know where I'm going.
This one's pretty easy. From here, it's follow the big road until the T and turn left.
So who's gonna be in front of me to pull me out when I get stuck?
No one.
No,
I mean, we could take the shortcut if you'd prefer.
I don't.
Did you forget something?
Did I? Oh, the heck! I attached to him before I left. What happened?
She know.
How? Before I went to the bathroom, it said I was attached to it.
I don't
That's
believe
impressive.
that at all. Also, this trailer is being really picky about how.
What's the lie to me?
It was a skill issue.
Probably. Wait, can I go for a ride?
Do it.
Can I?
Hop on.
Can I drive up there? Wait, how am I gonna turn
Yeah,
around
hang
and
on.
get up there?
Can you?
Let me give you some room here.
I've seen her with a bunch of runner.
I didn't say I was gonna help. I just said I wanted to give it.
Heck yeah. You're good. You're good.
Am I?
You're good.
Are you backing on? Oh
You're
lord.
good. You're good.
I'm not,
not.
good.
You're good.
I'm not good.
You're good.
I didn't have room to turn around. That's why I was doing it that way. But okay, I'll turn around. Not that it'll be much
Good.
better in this game now.
So I
No,
wasn't fast enough for you. How do you explain the backup? Are you gonna blame the backup camera for this too, or?
No, that was totally me.
Okay.
I'm just dumb.
Alright, we're gonna do this like Spy Hunter. You gotta catch up and get on.
Oh no! I
You're
tipped
good.
over!
You're good.
You got this.
You're good.
Well, I'm stuck. Dang, I was almost up there.
Oh, this tree isn't disappearing, and it's just got me in place.
I should have slowed down. I like how my wheels are still spinning.
This tree is not going away. Go on, get it.
You're on the trailer. Hey! Hey!
Nailed it.
Successfully got you closer to on this trailer than
No!
you're gonna fall off. Back up, back up. You're gonna fall off.
Hold on.
Oh god!
Nope.
Oh, good save.
There we go.
Shit.
You want to make sure you're lined up real good on that trailer, and then
I
go
know.
slowly.
Yeah.
No, punch it. Put it in, drop it in low gear and put your diff lock on. Get some real consistency with it. Oh. You're good. You're good.
Oh, no!
Heck yeah.
Too
Oh,
far!
brake!
Okay. Okay, I'm done. Hey, look at that. We have good insurance now.
You're good.
If the steering controls didn't have a fucking mind of their own in this goddamn game.
You're good. Oh, I was coming up to you then. Bumper again. You're good.
I was just like stuck on there. No! No!
Oh no!
No! I can't do it. I'm not skilled enough to drive in this game.
Oh, that's right. Pushing doesn't work in this.
You almost did.
It likes to make you think that it's going to, but then it does.
There you go. Alright, I give up. It was fun for a second.
Alright, let's work on... I mean, we could just keep building this road out and go accept the roadblock.
Stop being cold. Oh, thank you. you it dropped like 30 degrees today. It was crazy. When I woke up this morning and went to work, it was like almost 60, and then by the time I left work, it was like 31. You have a picture to send me? Okay. Zooming now, boys.
Getting it.
Oh, watch out.
I'm drunk. Not really.
Whoa.
But it sure does look like it.
That is one thing that we have never tried. And I don't think I ever want to try.
I feel like it might give me motion sickness.
I think drunk roadcraft might be worse though.
I don't know if I have. Follow the pavement probably.
If you go up and over, it's gonna be way. Well, where are you going?
Oh,
Going back to the garage, up and over, but.
there we go.
Where'd
Pick
you
a
go?
mission.
Oh, God!
G.
Oh, no. Huh?
Pick a mission. E.
I got.
I don't know if I'm going the right way.
I got this roadblock. Let's just continue fixing this road. We need 2 service spare parts. We want to track the block.
My engine is red.
What happened?
I kept hitting things. Also, I'm all alone.
Oh no. Alright, if you want to do a recover, we'll start back from the garage.
Okay. That's probably a good idea. That's probably a good idea.
Just probably, we're doing it.
Have I tired yet? No. Boo.
No, I'm only rank 3. I got nothing.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, we got snow today too, Stitch. Did you have the same thing, Sidge, where it was like one day they were like, you're gonna have a tornado, and then the next day they were like, now you're gonna get a blizzard. No tornadoes, that's good. No, they're all in Indiana. There was a really bad one in
Yes.
Indiana last week that like pretty much leveled a little town. Shocking, considering the last time this year we had 17 inches the span of a week. Dang. Yeah, I know what you meant. You took 17 inches in a week? Damn. Good for you.
That's like 19 times.
Animal.
Listen, we're degenerates over here. What can I say?
So, Chi, if you want to connect up to that trailer really quick.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, wrong way. I did the
You-
wrong way.
You dented my bed.
Sorry.
Not you.
Oops, I pushed the wrong button. Too far away, I'm right next to it. What do you mean?
You have to have the like center of your directly over the point, or near direct over the point.
cheese truck.
I was talking smack.
Perfect. That should do it.
Hey! Now what do I do?
Now you can access the trailer store and sell it.
Sell.
Money.
I'll just.
Whoa. Good. The liquid tanker. I did it.
Yeah. What? Oh, I thought you were about to look at that. I was like, why?
No. No, I sold the wheat.
Did it.
Alright, now we need to go
Roadblock.
back up.
Stitch! What? Stitch says, I mean, if we're going there, I've taken way more than that in a single week. That's crazy, bro. You're a trooper.
A trooper.
You started it. It wasn't a competition.
Could be.
Listen, it just got me in my little flippy lid truck, okay? I don't know what you're talking about. Now what are we doing?
We're doing a roadblock. We're gonna go up to this warehouse again, pick up service spare parts.
Stuck?
Getting stuck.
Getting stuck. How are you though, Stitch? I feel like I haven't talked too much since we played Yap Yap. Alive? Okay, that's all I can ask for, right? I'm stuck.
Slap that thing in all wheel.
Just
Oh,
immediately.
I didn't realize I was in an all-wheel drive. I forgot it switches. Meow.
Slow down.
Meow. I'm zooming. Can't catch me. That's his bug boy.
Goodness.
Meow. Can't complain too much because I'm still here. Let's go. Truck is so slow and shitty.
Don't worry.
Am I not accelerating
Just a mere-
right? am I accelerating improperly?
You're doing great.
Are you holding the right trigger?
Yes.
Yep, you're doing it right.
Shoot dang.
Shoot dang. Oh no! I can't get on the road.
Oh my goodness.
Yo.
Come on, G.
Oh man, too bad my editor needs a new graphics card for their computer right now. They would have had fun editing this bit into a video.
The struggles and tribulations of G.
Oh man.
I got high-ended on the run.
If only you knew another editor.
Yeah, but this one does it for free.
Yeah, I've definitely got the pedigree to charge people yet.
Yeah, totally.
Goodness, I found every rock here.
I also don't charge the only person I edit for
I mean,
for different reasons.
as you shouldn't. As you shouldn't. I'd be concerned if you were.
The only time that we'll ever likely get to a point of like me being paid, and I hope this becomes a problem, is if it becomes tax advantageous.
Sure. Or like maybe you don't
Like
need your
move some
other,
money into a smaller bucket.
like maybe you don't need your other job because now you just edit full
That's the goal. And I think for me to get to editing full time, like we may be able to make that decision fiscally,
Yeah.
but time wise, I don't see her keeping me busy, quote unquote, full time.
Sure.
So full time plus.
But if you like
Pick
it,
up other.
you can take out, yeah, so you can take out other clients.
Yep. Well, I already did. Right as I started this, one of our friends, her dad, owns a generator in town, and he had me do a quick little video project for him.
That's right. My issue is that I actually really like editing. I just don't have the time.
Yeah. It's the first time that I've done something. So, which, oh, I said it's the first time that I've done something that felt like I enjoyed it for a while. So, and for me, that's kind of a big deal because I love my job.
Totes. My job right now puts me to sleep.
Snagga service spare parts.
Snagga.
Snagga. Snarf.
Spare parts. Service spare parts.
Yes.
Just one?
Just one. We'll share the weight.
Share the load. Hey,
I'm doing my part.
Hey, Samwise DMD.
I didn't do.
Yeah, where are you?
I'm exploring.
Oh.
I promise what I'm doing is valuable.
Oh god, Crane fucked me up again.
Tangentially valuable.
Oh man, who saw that come?
Not me.
Oh, that's a good one.
Through the mountain pass. Ooh, raised for what?
The Fleet Star.
Oh, let's go. Now we can get bigger tires that we haven't unlocked yet.
Yay!
I mean, yeah,
tires.
we gotta. Well, bigger tires, not better tires.
Aw, I want better tires. These ones suck.
We need better tires, but we gotta get to level 6.
I want to move faster through mud.
That's. For what it's worth, this game is really good.
Really good.
I'm coming in hot.
Cutting it
Oh
out.
wait. Never
Oh
mind.
jeez.
I was cruising.
Got mudded. Oh, small little pine tree stopping. Rude.
Sure, it doesn't break now. Catch a winch to it,
Right.
that fucker's gonna fall over.
Yes, Mr. Country.
Probably. Stop.
Fuck you, pine tree.
Give me a winch to it.
I thought you were gonna say "fuck you, Babu."
That's fair.
I would never.
I would.
I would.
You guys are mean.
No.
He's just a little baby. I'm still stuck on this
Just a-
fucking tree. The fuck?
Just a little shit.
Wide turns, Chi.
It's so small though. This was a real truck. It would have ran that tree over.
Heard that before.
What?
Oh God, you know these lyrics so well.
On the road again. I got stuck here before with the truck. I'm gonna get stuck again because I'm moving so slow.
I believe in you this time. It's gonna be different.
Yeah, it's not a pickup, I guess.
Hell yeah! All you
It's
need
not a
is
little Chevy.
Chevy truck.
Michigan ass Chevy.
Literally.
Michigan ass Chevy.
Michigan ass Chevy. Aren't they all Michigan though? They're all built
Most
here.
Fords are made in Kentucky, actually.
Oh.
Thought it was made in Michigan.
My cousin works at a.
Well,
My cousin and his daughter
assembled.
both work at Ford plants.
Heck yeah.
My cousin's daughter works at the axle plant. It's axles on trucks.
Like Twisted Metal?
Totes.
Like the Crazy Frog.
Skirt!
Skirt.
Skirt! Uh-oh. Start tracking. Close. Now take the load. Wait. It's not taking the load.
You may have to
Cargo
hold
management.
X
There we go.
to
I
cycle
got it.
to the next thing.
I
Yep.
got it, I got it, I got it. I figured it out. I'm
Gotcha.
rank
Been
4.
promoted.
I'm
Let's
rank
go.
4 now.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Cutscene.
What kind of rickety ass bridge is that? I ain't driving over that. What the fuck?
Say that now.
Oh no! Oh no!
We're gonna go find a new truck. It's right up here. Going for the Kodiak.
Oh.
Just west of the log station.
Ow.
Don't you ball
I made 17 engine damage.
You know what they say.
Engine.
Engine damage.
Engine. Engine. Ain't that big engine?
Oh jeez.
Oh god.
Oh,
Oh
it's like the
no!
one Smitty just built.
Oh no! Oh no! I can't be precise?
You did it.
Oh, I did it somehow. Oh shit. I don't know how I just made it over that bridge.
Through the power of friendship.
We can do anything with the power of friendship. Ah.
Oh, jeez, guys. I don't know. Oh, why is this just a mud pit? What the heck?
Pushed you.
Thanks.
It's not working.
You push me, I'll pull you.
Okay. Teamwork. Power of friendship.
Power of friendship. Alright,
No.
now you. There's the truck out there, and now you gotta go. You gotta touch.
What? I don't want to go out
You
there.
gotta you gotta touch it, and then you can recover it.
Okay.
Is that one recoverable?
Yeah. Once you touch it, it's yours. Oh, I guess you. I suppose you could winch to it if you wanted to. It's probably like the reasonable thing to do.
Well, I'm stuck.
Oh. Friendship.
Friendship. I'm stuck on friendship. Help.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it. Your truck discovered.
There, I pulled it close enough to you. You're welcome. Friendship.
Yay, friendship.
Alright, now you can get into this truck and then recover it.
Can I?
Yes.
Change truck. B. Wait, I don't think I changed truck. I think it lied. Oh, because I had the wrong button. Oh god, I'm underwater! Help!
Help. Help.
Cover. There was thunder. I heard it.
Lightning and thunder.
Whoa, hey, this truck's kind of cool. Ra-ta-ta-ta. Ew, I don't want that.
Ew.
What's an American flag on their truck? That's gross. Oh, this orange and black one's kind of cool, though. This red and white one's kind of cool, though.
Oh, that's right. I don't get that truck because it's not in my world.
Yep.
Oh no!
Oh.
One other thing you can do, Chi, to like cheat your way, well, to give you early money. So you buy and sell things for the same price. So if you buy a trailer for $5,000, it will sell back for $5,000.
Oh, that's nice to know.
So like if you decide that the Kodiak isn't going to be one you're going to be using right now, you can sell it to get the money and have that. And then if you decide to buy it later, you can buy it.
Oh, what am I doing?
You can do the same thing with GMC.
Yep. It's a good way to get a little extra cash if you're like, because you don't have money. Although right now I think we just don't have the ability to get upgrades because we don't have.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
locked at the moment.
Yeah, because I actually have like a decent amount of money.
Yeah, that's part of why I split off and did that bridge to try and get us some more stars, so we can get that level bumped.
I can't get all-wheel drive on this truck yet. Can't get all-wheel drive
Yeah.
on this one until you go to Alaska.
That's where the snow is.
That's where the snow is.
Yeah, so all-wheel drive is going to be your best friend until you get better tires.
Yeah.
And even then,
Even then.
except for the P12, P16, P12.
P12. Best truck in the game.
Whoa, you're gonna say that with the Fleet Star in front of you?
Wait, how do I
I'm
get back
sitting
to
in
my
the front
Fleet
seat.
Star? Now it's just stuck on the map somewhere?
No,
Yes.
if you go to the, well, yes, but you could also teleport to it by using
By using the what?
the map.
Oh. Oh.
You navigate to it, hit A on, you'll
Wow.
jump into it. And then you can drive it from there or recover it.
Alright, I don't know where I left it.
Way up north,
Way up north.
west of the log station.
Fleet Star. I found it, I think.
Yes.
How do I...
If you're going, you can go through it, scroll through it on the legend on the left
Oh, yeah.
and hit the Fleet Star, or you can click right stick on it on the map and it will select it. And then you hit A to enter it.
Wait, it took me to a different
think-
Fleet Star.
Yeah, I said that and I'm like, well, we have 3 Fleet Stars on the map because it's also looking at ours.
So yeah, you
Oh,
can
there
also
we go.
just
After I found the right one.
D-pad through that. I also put another trailer for you to.
It says A. Hit A. There we go.
Hit A again.
There we go. I did it.
Ow.
Still no tires, right? Oh, that's right. We have to be level 6. I forgot.
Dang it. I think contracts would be the best thing to level up for that. I think it's 440 stars. And a task give a little bit less stars, so if we wanted to level up or go for the big level missions, the contracts would be the thing to go to.
Yeah, and we've got most of the infrastructure.
Nice.
Frick yeah.
Yeah.
You can also get raised installed on your.
Oh yeah, that'll help, even if we don't have the
Raised?
bigger tires.
It's a,
Oh, is that like a
in the
lift kit?
configuration. It's a suspension. Yeah, it lifts it. But
A lift kit.
Yeah.
Suspension.
delivered to the factory, bricks and metal beams.
What are you looking at?
Pipe dream.
Yeah, that also means we gotta use that. Oh, that's the heavy. I was thinking that there's the oil rig up there, the drill rig.
Yeah, not that one yet. I can start working on that one.
1 second.
And that'll unlock. Yeah, alright, we can work on Pipe Dream. You want to start tracking Pipe Dream in Dice and Diesel contracts? Cheat.
Okay. Oh. 1 sec.
That's saddle high. I can do that. I can do that part.
Oh no, it's frozen.
What happened?
I clicked out of it and
Oh
tried to
no.
get back
Oh,
in. You guys
Oh
made me
no.
catch.
She broke
Oh
the game.
no.
I did.
Oh, you
There
booted
it
us.
goes. Oh, it happens every time. Why does it do that?
SnowRunner things.
Oh, you guys log back in. I think I'm gonna go end stream, but we can keep playing.
Okay, sounds good.
I'm gonna end stream. Meow.
Bye stream.
Meow.
Bye, stream.
Somebody's warming up something in the microwave.
Yeah, it's Zeph.
Oh,
She's making noise.
it's my lady.
Making beans because she wants to kill me tonight.
Yes! The
And you're making
bean
beans because you want to
bombs.
kill me tonight.
Need that fiber.
Fiber. Fiber bombs. I gotta find someone to raid real quick. Wonder if Red is still alive. Yes. I'm gonna get that fox, girl. Red's playing Satisfactory. So let's go raid Red. Alright, chat. Thanks for hanging out. Now I'm gonna send you to Red. Goodbye. Love you. Get the fuck out now. Night night. Sweet dreams. Don't let the bed bugs bite. Or maybe let them. I don't know.